This is the Mystic Tribe. In a world where many of them are renowned for just brutish strength, there are some orcs that realize the need to rely on more than their own physical strength. They build totems and altars to which they commune with ancient powers. The Mystic Tribe is one of the tribes that draw power from the arcane and dark magic. They specialize in curses and spells together with their physical weapons. I got interested in the Mystic Tribe when I saw some of my followers in my fortress worshipping a totem of bones. They gathered around the altar, muttering incantations, and a dark aura flowed from them into the totem. I found out there were 4 such totems in the fortress, one in the north, south, east, and west. In the center of the fortress, there was a massive monument of bone, which I believe was to show their dedication to whatever or whoever they worship. To find out more about this particular religion, I stood and studied the orcs around the totem who were muttering their incantations. There were a constant 3 orcs at all times worshipping the thing, and an occasional 1 or 2 that joined. Their general body motion involved bowing with their hands low and gradually raising their arms to the totem to the sky. I noticed that no Orcs took part in the ceremony though, so for your information, Orcs are the big, massive orcs. There was one that came around the totem, but he never took part of the incantation. From afar, the orcs have a dark aura around them, and so does the statue. When you move closer to the group and look on the ground, you can see a dark aura that moves from the body of the orcs as they raise their arms and then goes into the totem. I wondered if the orcs were filling up the totem with power like how you would charge a battery. It could also be that whatever comes out of them is more like a link or chain of connection that joins them to the dark world or power that they're trying to reach, and hence they're able to get their requests granted. I wondered if this was the same thing throughout the whole area of Littlad, even for the orcs that were not my followers. So a brief excursion showed some other orc settlements also had totems and the massive bone monuments. What was strikingly different though was that they didn't have a dedicated group standing in front of the totem 24/7. I did chance on one settlement with a group of 3, but it was only that one. The others did not have communing with the totem as a high priority. So I asked myself, why was that? I went back to my fortress for the answer. After an analysis of my fortress, I realized the overlord I put in charge was a member of the Mystic Tribe. And in Shadow of War, the tribe of the overlord gives the fortress specific characteristics. For example, the whole fortress has places where the structures are reinforced by bones with various faces. There's also the massive bone monument in the middle of the fortress, and as well as the 4 totems that we noticed earlier. But that still doesn't explain why my fortress had a constant number of people always worshipping the totem. I believe there are multiple parts of possibilities here. The first is that since my followers are secure in a fortress, they have more time to dedicate themselves to extra activities such as enlightenment, learning, or maybe even recreational spiritual activities. A fortress is a secure establishment with enough defenses where they don't have to be constantly on guard, and so more time could be dedicated to other things than just bare survival. Compared to the other orc settlements that are just a collection of shoddy structures, my followers are in a good place. A direct example of this safety is that in one of the settlements I visited, they were being attacked by a Graug. With a constant threat like this, there is no way the settlement is going to allow orcs that could be defending the settlement spend their time in mystic communication with some dark magic. The second possibility is that since the overlord is a member of the Mystic Tribe, mysticism and the search for the occult is an activity that is high on the priority list. So there must be people that are in charge of ensuring that that aspect is taken care of. This will mean that the constant number of orcs are there mainly because it is their jobs as assigned in the fortress. And since this comes from the overlord directly, they have to comply. For example, in one of the settlements I visited, right by the totem, there was a grog barrel. Now grog is an alcoholic beverage for those that are unaware. While I was observing, one orc chose to spend their time drinking and getting drunk rather than engage in any spiritual communication with the totem. So it goes to say, there is no one checking around to enforce mandatory spiritual sessions, so every orc is free to do as they please. Now these are sound conclusions, but in no way are they concrete. but we'll take them as they are for now. Another feature of the Mystic tribe is that they possess cursed weapons that they use, as well as a special curse technique where they disappear and reappear by their opponent and use a finishing move. This is pretty sick and scary depending on which side of it you're on. In the end, I have no problem with my followers fortifying themselves with some dark magic, as long as they don't go back to Sauron. So I'll leave them be for now. I just wanted to share what I found about the Mystic tribe. If you enjoyed the video, then consider subscribing.